Welcome to Triple H, Hamilton Happy Hour, where we talk about pianos, talk about music, and everything else in between. Hey everybody, welcome back to Triple H, Hamilton Happy Hour.
Woohoo!
With Mike and Mike, Eminem.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. So this is, everybody can't see it, but we have more of a professional kind of a podcast system now where we have 6 microphones and headphones, and my son and Trevor and Jordan and I have built this table so that we have a little more professional table, and I think it turned out pretty slick.
It might not be able to see it, but they can definitely hear it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the good thing with what we're doing with the podcast is it's kind of like a TV show without all the production and all that stuff, and you're still getting to hear the behind the scenes stuff of what's going on, like especially when our concert season comes up and we're working with artists and this and that, and we can tell people where they can see the pictures of the stuff that we've done or what we're doing and taking the tour of the shop and things like that. So I think that works pretty good, in being the most cost-effective way to get things out there, not just for Hamilton Piano Company, but for also all the people that we want to bring onto the podcast and promote too, like if Larry Brendler's playing out or Todd Feldman or things like that, Copeland Davis, so on and so forth, Wayne Hosford, if they're going out and playing and say, hey, guys, go to Cafe Centro and see Copeland playing tonight, or he's there this and this and this night. And Copeland actually talked to me. I sent him the first podcast. He loved it. He thought it was great, and he said he might do more than just one episode with us, which would be really
That'd be
really
awesome.
That'd be awesome.
And so but he also was talking about possibly renting a piano and doing at Cafe Centro, doing a recording on it when he plays one night. So
Okay.
that would be cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's got, the man's just a genius, And I was talking with Jordan. Jordan's one of the guys that works here, and his father and his and Kenny Mondo, who owns Kenny Mondo Productions. I was talking about maybe possibly getting them on board because they got tons of stories too, and they're DJs, so they DJ and they do that stuff. Things that now it's not just all about piano. That's what I don't want the podcast to be about. It's not just about piano. It's about music in general. And that's a more broader area that we can discuss. But yeah, because, they got stories to tell too and things like that. So I want to, see if they want to come on board too.
Yeah. We also need to get some teachers involved as well. So that way, they can get out there, and I'm sure they've got a lot of stories of things that they've done, and, it'd be really good for everyone to hear.
And further emphasizing the point of how important music education is, it'd be good to get it from a teacher's perspective too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because so we are on one aspect of the business, from the technical side, and then you have the piano teachers, and then you have the piano players, and we can't live without them. They can't live without us. It's a win-win-win. That's our slogan. Win-win-win. And it's got to be that way, because if it's not, then it doesn't work. And so when you have a concert artist on stage, well, he's the NASCAR driver, we're the pit crew. So we got to get the piano on stage. We got to tune it, make sure everything's working properly. And with the piano teachers, same thing. Without them teaching kids to play the piano, where do we lie? Because then people don't buy pianos from us or have us repair theirs or tune theirs and so on and so forth.
Rebuild them, or
yeah, and it's got to be that whole connection of everything, working together. And
Absolutely.
those are the three, right, trifecta of the business. And without one, you take one of those things out of the equation. If there weren't any piano teachers, then okay, well,
no one's learning.
Exactly. And
Unless
then
they're going to YouTube,
and then the piano's dying, because, when people have a piano in their home, and if it's a piece of furniture, that's all one thing and well and good for that person, but it's not a piece of furniture. It's a musical instrument.
Absolutely.
And it needs to be maintained. It needs to be tuned regularly. It needs maintenance. I mean, it's actually the least expensive thing to maintain in your home. You think about it.
Yeah, people think it's really expensive, but it's less than your air conditioner.
Exactly. Yep.
Pretty much everything else.
Yep. And you can, keep that instrument in your home for 50, 60, 70 years. You can't do that with the dishwasher, washing machine, refrigerator, AC unit, your
Sofa,
car,
couch.
yeah, you can't. I mean, there's nothing. That is, and now that I said that, it's kind of like, whoa, really?
I really never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
But have you really put it to words like that before?
No, I really didn't, because I know pianos can live that long, and being that it can stay, like you said, a couch. Well, a couch doesn't last that long.
Nope.
But
You're not gonna pass it down to your children, are you?
If you got
Or
dogs
grandchildren or great grandchildren.
If you got dogs like we all got, the couch lasts about 2 years, 3 years, maybe.
Yeah. So I mean, it's an analog thing. So it's not like, oh, we got to change this motherboard, or I mean, if you have a player system, it's a little different story. But it's you can get the parts for the last 160, 70 years. So it's something that digital pianos, we talked about this before, not the same. I mean, a digital piano is not going to last as long. You're lucky if you get 20, 30 years out of it. But an analog piano, if a string breaks, you can replace a string. If a hammer breaks, you can replace it.
Yep. What's it cost to replace a string, basically?
Well, it depends on the piano. It depends on the string. So, bass string costs more because we have to order it, send the old one out and order it. And then a plain wire string is less expensive, but you're looking around $125 and up, for that.
And how often does that happen on a piano, on any piano's life?
It just depends on how it's taken care of.
There's a lot involved, but still just focusing on the fact that it's a minimal investment. You know what I mean? Like pianos don't break strings every year, and we suggest pianos get tuned twice a year, optimally.
Talking about
at least once a year, though.
Right.
So that's a small investment.
And talking about breaking strings, so one time I had to tune for Ben Folds, and I think he was opening up for John Mayer. And so I go on stage to tune the piano, and there's this roadie that's got this box. And I mean, this box was like 2-3 feet by 2-3 feet. It was a big box full of bass strings, just bass strings. And he's pulling a string out, and I said, why do you have so many bass strings? I mean, a piano's only got X amount of bass strings. You got like enough for 10 pianos in here. And he says, Ben breaks a string every time at a concert, every time. And I said, okay, all right. And I said, do you want me to put it on? He said, sure. So I put the bass string on, blah, blah, blah. And so about 2 weeks later, I was at a customer's home, and I had mentioned I worked for Ben Folds, and he said, oh, he's my favorite musician. And have you ever seen him play? I said, no. He goes, let me show you. So we went to his office. He brings him up. Now I know why he breaks the strings, because he's like Jerry Lee Lewis. Elbows, foot.
Is he really?
Yeah. And that makes sense, but you don't do that in your home, so you're not going to be breaking it every time you play. But, certain pianos can take it and some can't, That's why concert artists like to play on a bigger piano, a 7 or 9 foot piano, because they hold a tuning better, they sound better, and they can get out of it what they need to get out of it.
Everything's more stable.
It's more of an extension of them, than a 4'8" piano. I mean, those typically just don't sound good because your strings are stubby, and they can't vibrate enough, and you can never get the tone out of those that you need to get out of them.
That's cool.
But there was
is that the easiest thing to go wrong, breaking strings, if you're playing like wild like that, Jerry Lee Lewis style?
Yeah.
Like what about hammers breaking off shanks or anything like that?
You'd have to probably drop a cinder block on it or something. Right? Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's that would be tough, but it can happen. I mean, I have one right before a concert. It was on the 9-foot Steinway I take care of at the Society of the Four Arts, and it was right before a concert, and I was just going to voice the hammer a little bit. It was just slightly too bright, and I start voicing it with my needle that goes through the string, so I didn't have to pull the action because it was very minimal, and that hammer must have been weak or something, and I barely touched it, and it snapped off right before the concert. And I'm like, I'm just like, what? Oh, okay. So I run out to my car, get everything that I need, and I'm stressing out because the way that
clean break.
It was not a clean break. I had to replace the whole shank. So I couldn't, splint it or anything. I had to, put a whole new shank on, regulate it, and none of my shanks were perfect. Because the boring was
You can only carry so many.
exactly. So the boring was a little. So I probably shouldn't say what I did, but I'll say what I did.
This is why it's the behind the scenes.
So the bore, the hole that the hammer attaches to on the shank was bigger than any shank that I had, and I didn't have time to run to the shop to get another shank. So I'm sitting there like, how am I going to do this? I don't have I can't plug it. I can't redrill it. Blah 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 blah. What am I going to do? I've got 2 hours before the concert, and and it's got to dry. I mean, it's got to, it's got to be set. So what did I do?
What string was it on?
I don't remember. I want to say it was like D4 or something like that. It was in the tenor section, if I remember.
Something's going to get used.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it wasn't like key 88. I mean, and so what I did was I'm like, what am I going to do? So I took some tape and I wrapped it around the shank, and it made it just tight enough. And I used it was kind of like traveling paper, so that we use to line up the hammer so that when the shank travels to the hammer travels to the string, it lines up properly. So I took that and I wrapped it around a few times, glued it, and then I'm like, oh, that's tight. Oh, yeah. And I put it together, and I'm like, please just pray. I prayed, and please just hold for the concert. And
it did. Let's go on.
It did. It did. And then the concert went on, and the next time I was there, I went ahead and replaced it the right way and did it.
It's almost like a mover fix there. Just wrap some tape around it, make it a little bit tighter.
So next week is going to be pretty cool because I'm going to Reno for the convention, and I'm really super excited about that. I'm going to get to meet a lot of rebuilders and pick their brains and learn from them and
start making some West Coast connections.
Yep. And I think it's going to be a good networking thing where these guys that I follow them, I look them, up online and see how they're doing things. Like, oh, that's a great idea, and that's how you learn. But for next week, going to Reno for the Piano Technicians Guild convention, because I have to. I'm the president for the Piano Technicians Guild for all of South Florida, so I have to present myself too as doing my job. It's hard when I can't do my job because I try to get technicians. Hey, let's have a meeting. Hey, oh, no one shows up. It's that part of it's a little frustrating. But at the same time, I understand because everybody's busy. If someone
their lives, I mean, they got their families that they're doing after hours. I mean,
we are a dying breed, and we are so busy because when you're good at what you do, you're going to be busy. Like my father always told me, just do good work, you'll always be busy.
Absolutely.
And, all the technicians have, and they're not always very close, being in Palm Beach County, they're in Broward County or Martin County, even Ron May, who's a technician, he's up in Vero. But he's like, whenever you have a meeting, let me know, I'll come down. Super cool guy. And I said, well, I'd hate for you to come down for just you and me to talk. You'd be the only one that shows up. But it is very important. The Piano Technicians Guild is a good family to be part of, with other technicians, because everybody's always willing to teach and show everybody and help out. And that's the thing too. And me personally, in the big scheme of things, if you were to compare Hamilton Piano Company to all the other rebuilders out there, we're like the youngest ones out there in that sense, where we
up-and-comers.
We started in 2008, so 16 years ago.
Yeah.
These guys have been around 30, 40, 50, 60 years. I mean, if not more. Lindenblatt, 100 years. I mean, so we're the young guys. We're the ones that are, we're very well advanced for what we're doing, but we also have well over 300 years of experience when you combine all of our knowledge with our technicians.
Yeah, between the three of us, we've got close to 100 years.
If you factor in my family from 1955, you factor in you and you working together, there's 100 years right there.
Yep.
And that's just three people.
Yeah.
Now you had Fernando, 45 years.
Yep.
You had Misael, another 35, 40 years.
Absolutely.
You had Diego, 30 years. So on and so forth. Yep. So, you start combining all those years of knowledge together. And yes, you add them up. It's not overlapping. You have to add them up, because you add them up, and that's showing.
Well, everybody has their own experiences.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We weren't all together for all of our years.
No.
Right.
You know, so we all learned different things from different people, and you know,
And we're still learning.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah. The day you stop learning, you're done for.
Right.
But that's the important part, is that you keep being open-minded that way, and also wanting to reach out to work with other technicians, because, you know, in years past and generations past, everybody wasn't always so open to helping out other people.
Correct.
Yes. So just me personally, when I first got into the business and joined the PTG, I felt like I was 19, 20 years old. I'm young. I mean, you know, and my father and my grandfather, my father and my grandfather and my uncle all had a very good reputation. And I felt like, okay, I'm the new guy. You know, I'm coming into it. My dad told me, you need to be in the PTG. You just need to do it. So my father couldn't work anymore because he was sick, and my uncle was still in it. So I would go to the meetings and this and that. And then it would be funny because, you know, piano terminology is spelled very funny. Okay. You know, right. All right.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
escutcheon and agraphs and so on and so forth. So I won one meeting. They said, "Hey, Toby, we're going to talk about this. Write it up on the board, on the dry erase board." I'm like, "Okay." So they're talking about agraphs. So I wrote agraphs. Like, no, that's not how you spell that. I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then they said escutcheon or station, or everyone has different terminology. And I'm like, AS. They're like, no, it's EST. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know, but I was
It's got a lot of Italian roots, right? Because Cristofori.
Yep. That's how you say it. Not Cristofori. And so, you know, I'm at these meetings and I'm learning, and I did learn a lot. Like Howard Rosen was the president for a very long time. And Howard, and to this day, I was thinking about him today because I'm trying to do something that he said, you got to keep doing this, tying a string. You know, if you got a broken string, instead of replacing it, tying it, you know, it's called string splicing. So, and Howard would say, if you don't keep doing it, you'll forget it. Well, I haven't tied a string in I don't know how long. So we had a broken string. I'm like, I'm going to tie it. Well, no, I ended up replacing it. Me personally, I'd rather replace it. That's just me.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there trying to tie
It
this
looks
thing.
better too with
Right.
it being replaced.
And it's a very big bass string. You know, it was my son broke on, I don't know, it was somewhere in the low bass. And so I said, Brandon, I'm going to show you how to do this. And I'm fumbling it around. And now, granted, it's very tough because the inner core wire was at like 20.5. And I'm sitting there, it's just really tough. And you only have a few millimeters to play with. So I said, I'm going to try it just to see. Well, I couldn't get it. Okay, now we replace the string.
Can Chris do it?
Chris is very good at it.
No, I know he's good at tying,
is
but
very
could
good
he
at
do that one, you think?
He may have been able to do it better
Yeah.
than me. Yes. Yeah, because I ended up breaking the string. So, so yeah, anybody could have done it better than me.
Not anybody. I'm sure Hayden and I.
So that's true.
I can do it. I got my 12-pound sledgehammer.
So with that, I'm not perfect with what I do, but I know the guys. No one's perfect at what they do, of course, because we're all imperfect humans. But I learned at a young age to, if I can't do it, no matter how hard I try, it just doesn't suit me or I can't get it, you find the right person that can. Like, I can't refinish a piano. I mean, I tried. When I was first trying to, refinishing out of my dad's garage and doing that and stripping piano, I can strip a piano, I can sand it, I can get that all prepped, no problem. I can do that. Spraying never came perfect for me, so spraying a piano was a little bit more difficult. I did do a few pianos and I did learn but that's where the PTG helps with certain things. Now, I'm not a refinisher because in anything to do with the piano, you can move a piano in a few hours. You can string a piano in a day. You can do a pin block in a half a day. You can do a soundboard in a week. You can string, so on and so forth. Refinishing is months. It takes more time to do on a piano than anything else. And people say, well, why does it cost so much? Well, this is why. The product, the drying time, you have, in order for it to be done right so it lasts, that's the thing. And we go above and beyond and do the underside and replace all the trapwork felt and all the leather and polish everything and rebuild all this stuff.
Which is rare.
Right.
Not everybody does that. And there's so many, even the pianos that are done right and the finish looks good. You go underneath the piano, it looks like crap.
Right. You see all the stripping compound and all the
Overspray.
Drips from stripper, and yeah.
Some of the hardware not polished properly, just not done properly.
Right.
I mean,
they use old felts. They didn't polish the pedals. They didn't do certain things. And what we do here is a complete job. So why is it important to do the bottom of the piano? Well, no one's going to see it. The only time you're going to see it is two ways: when the movers are bringing it in, and
picking it up.
If you crawled underneath the piano to see it. Okay, but when you disassemble the pedals, you disassemble the trap work. You can't put those old felts back on. You can't. I mean, it's like...
Oh, you can. I see it all the
time. Doesn't sound.
We're not going to do that.
But we rebuild the piano as if the piano is just being built.
Correct. We take it down to the bare bones.
Yeah.
And we do so much rebuilding of the piano that it's a skeleton when it's apart.
Yeah.
You know, it is... And one piano turns into, when you take a piano apart, you have the real estate of what one piano takes. Now take everything off. The parts, lid, music desk, blah, 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 blah. Take the harp out. That's 3 piano spots. One piano turns into 3 spots.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's a lot of space. Well, when we're
all the shelving, all the, carts, I mean, it just takes up so much space.
And that's why when we built our harp carts and we made them, to the point where you have a harp laying horizontal, it takes up a whole piano spot for the most part. But the way we did what we did, and I learned this from watching a video from Piano Solutions XXI, which is Gene over in California. He made a really cool, tilter to tilt the harp so that when you're not using it, you flip it up, it's out of the way. And when I was in Oklahoma a week or two ago, I went to a piano rebuilder shop and I was showing him our stuff, and he has one too that he made, and he made this really, really cool. I showed you guys this really cool elevator to get his pianos up to the second level. That was slick, man.
Yeah,
that was really, really slick.
Yep.
And but with the PTG, with the things that I'm learning from them. And the connections that I'm making, it's all priceless. I mean, it's like, I can't even put it into words. And the friendships that I've made, where, once again, getting back to being we're not amateurs by far, definitely not amateurs, but being young into the rebuilding part, these are the guys that I look up to that I can, hey, Jude Revely, Absolute Pianos in Boston. I can call him, hey, man, I need your help. Yep, no problem, Toby, blah, blah, blah. And vice versa. Like, he was here for a few days, and he did some stuff because we do something he doesn't do. So he's like, hey, I want to check this out when I'm down here. I said, okay. So he worked here for 3 days, and we did it. And it was great. It was just cool because it's like when Chris first started with the company, and we got him to, dialed in with his tuning, and he was going on the road, and he's tuning, and he's doing what he's doing. And he was doing very good at a very young age and very fast.
Absolutely.
But he also would come across things that he would call me almost every tuning, or every other tuning. And I said to him, when we got to, I don't know, a month or 2 in or whatever, I said, Chris, listen, I got your back. If you can't you figure it out or fix it, I'll take care of it because I will probably know. Since that point, he hardly ever calls. He doesn't call anymore. He's figured things out on his own, and he knows the right way to do it because he's worked here at the shop. He's learned, and I wish I had that growing up. I did have my dad and my uncle, but they didn't have a shop like what we have here, where it's like, we got your back.
You've got every part at your disposal.
Mm-hmm.
You got every know-how at your disposal. You got 6 or 7 people at any given moment that can give you advice on what to do.
I can remember moving a piano from his house to his father's house. I mean, it's like, Mike, come help me move this piano to my dad's house. I'm like, I don't know anything about pianos, Toby. He's like, I got you. Don't worry. 20 years later.
Well, it's a, perfect example. Before Mike Hayden came on board, everybody learned from how to move a piano from a piano tuner, not a piano mover. So
Might as well have been from YouTube videos. our standard joke. Yeah. Oh, we watched YouTube this morning.
Yeah.
but you've got what, almost 40 years experience, right?
August will be 35 years.
35 years. So
Yeah,
you got 35 years. And when we had to move Billy Joel's piano down the steps.
Yep.
The biggest problem with curved stairs is the lean. The lean is the biggest problem. Right. So we talked about that, right? And we're sitting there talking about that lean will be the biggest part of it. Now, we made this special piano board for that move, and I brought up to you guys, I said, hey, this is from a piano tuner. What if we just double up on the pads on this side where the lean's going to be and it won't lean? And you're like, what'd you say? You're like, I've been doing this all these years. I never thought of that.
Yeah, no, it was. That's a perfect example. It's really a perfect example of how you're never too good to keep learning.
Exactly.
Because when you bring a piano down a curved staircase, the piano wants to lean to the outside of the curve, no matter which way the curve is coming down. It wants to lean to the outside of the curve. You came up with the idea of, how about when we pad the stairs, we build up that side of the piano several times with pads, and that will help alleviate that lean.
Yeah.
And as soon as you came to me, I was like, oh my God, that's perfect. Of course, that's good. Of course that's going to work. It has no choice but to work. And that's what we did, and it worked absolutely perfect.
It was butter.
It was absolutely, it was amazing. We had eight of us on that move, I think.
Six.
It was just six.
Yeah, 6.
But we didn't even need them, really.
No.
I mean, that it came down a bunch of stairs on a curved staircase with a 9-foot piano, which was probably, with equipment and everything, probably, 1,000, 1,100 pounds, give or take. And it just went absolutely, just so smooth.
Yeah, I think even after that, you said that was the smoothest 9-foot stair move I've ever done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was
absolutely.
It was butter because we thought about it. You look at an obstacle. How do you get to the end result with everything being perfect and no problems? No one getting hurt. The instrument doesn't get hurt. The steps didn't get hurt. Blah 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 blah. And so we did that, and it was. I mean, it was like I said, it was like butter, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was unbelievable.
And so we did that, and we also made this special board where we, have these runners on them. We call it the sled, where it slides like it's so beautiful.
I remember when we first started in this facility, I said, this is what I want for a sled. This is what we need to do. This what to make it so much easier. So I told Tobias, I said, listen, you need to do exactly like this. So we built a prototype, and we've been using them since. I mean, everyone that we've shown them to,
they all want one.
Yeah.
And the thing is that we had Jason build it.
Yep.
And
the first one,
for the first one, for a vertical, we tried it with a vertical, and you guys brought it down those steps, and you were like, "This is cake."
Yeah.
And so we turned something difficult
into something a lot easier. Right. I mean, it's still difficult.
Oh, it's still difficult. Absolutely. We're not. Listen, it still costs money to move a piano downstairs, just because but when you have the right tool,
the
right drill, the right hammer, the right whatever it is, it just.
You're not paying me for the 30 minutes. You're paying me for the 30 years
of
experience. Exactly.
And that's the beauty of this shop, in my opinion, is it's not about we're thinking outside the box. Do you know what I mean?
Always.
We're always building something, because we've had a bunch of different piano moving companies come to our shop to pick up a piano. Some were like, "Oh my God, you have no clue what you're doing.
Please do not touch this.
Yeah,
Stop where you're at."
You're
several just in the last couple months.
Yeah, you're gonna kill yourself, man. I mean, whatever. That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
But they've come in and they've seen our stuff, and they're like, "Can you build this for us? We love this." And we're trying to listen. We've got a lot of unique tables, carts that we've built, piano boards, specialties that is like, listen, if you need it, we got it. and we're here to help. We're not here to hurt. When you cooperate instead of compete, you're going to get further faster.
Correct.
When you do it the other way, you're not. It's just the way that it is. And that's the beauty of working with other technicians, other dealers, other piano movers, is that, for instance, a company brings a piano to us. Yeah, and we get this all the time where, I would say at least once or twice a week, we're getting a furniture mover moved the piano and damaged it, and now they need us to fix it because they said they're quote unquote piano movers. They know what they're doing, and we all
certified.
know that
They're certified.
Well, let me see your certificate of certification because there isn't one.
Well, it's just like today.
We don't have one. If we don't have one, you don't have one.
Well, it's like today. We picked up a piano, or we were putting a piano into a pod for a customer, and we noticed that the leg was cracked. Pretty sure it was done by, one of their movers, certified piano movers, aka furniture mover. But there's no way to prove it. But we haven't touched it. Mike hadn't touched that piano before, so typically anyone that's moving the house is a furniture mover. So therefore, we got to it. Mike showed her that the leg was cracked, not safe. So now we have the leg here to repair, and then she'll pick it up on Saturday.
And we're doing a lot of these repairs that so-called piano movers are damaging. The couple that were here in the last month that were picking up a piano to go for where the customer needed it to go to, if we didn't step in, one guy would have gotten himself killed.
Yep.
I'm not kidding.
Loosening wrong legs.
That was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
it
just
wouldn't listen to us.
All right. And I'm like, dude, just step away from the piano. Just step away. And Mike and I got involved to break the piano down. He loosened all the legs. Okay.
I'm glad I wasn't here for that.
Yeah. No,
you left early.
We could have a whole podcast about that one. But
that lady was like, she was in tears.
She was in
tears.
She watched everything.
Yep.
And so she went with them because they were slightly cheaper than us. And it's like, you get what you pay for. That's you get what you pay for. Whether you're buying a tool, buying a house, if it's cheap, you're gonna have problems. That's just the way that is. You when you pay to have a professional, competent person, tuner, mover, rebuilder, refinisher, whatever it is, in the whole world, a real estate person, a contractor, so on and so forth, if you skimp out, you're not skimping out. It's going to cost you more, maybe not financially. It could, or more with stress or anything else.
You know what? That's a tricky space because when it comes to moving pianos, you have the people that will do it super cheap that don't know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They're just trying to get a job. But you also have furniture moving companies that will charge more than what we typically do.
Yeah.
Because they don't really want to do it, but if they can get enough money to send 5 guys out to figure it out, they'll do that. So we're competing against 2 different factions. We're competing against furniture moving companies that don't really want to do it, but they'll do what we do for $475. They'll charge $800.
Right, because they don't know what they're doing.
Because they don't know what they're doing.
Also, they're sending more people.
But they're sending more people,
and if they damage it, they
covers
have
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
If they get one move that goes smooth, or
we're competing against people that are charging almost double us, and we're competing against people that are charging less than us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a weird space to be in.
Absolutely.
When you have here's a telltale sign. When you have a 5-foot piano and you have 4 to 6 guys coming to move it, they don't know what they're doing.
No, absolutely.
If they're pulling up in a Penske or U-Haul truck, they don't know what they're doing.
Unless their truck broke down.
Their truck could have broke down.
Yes, unless right. If they are, the thing too is that one guy company in particular, they were taking stuff off the piano that was not necessary, and our concern for the customer was make sure you get this stuff back because now. The leg bolts are missing, the lyre bolts are missing, the hinges for your lid. We get this all the time where the person calls, I need hinges for this. It's not that simple.
That's just like
It's not.
I had a customer say that they took off the trap work.
Oh my God!
Why are they taking off trap work?
Exactly.
That's a big furniture mover thing.
Yeah.
They should never take trap
If
work
it
off.
comes
Doesn't matter
from
what
the
you
West
do.
Coast or something, if it goes through a big move from the West Coast, I've seen it a lot of times. They take all the trap work off the piano,
yeah.
and you get a bag of stuff to put back together. It's like, okay, I didn't add this into my estimate for your job.
Right. And that's now on the back end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say what we were talking about, which is you paid less. Okay. No, you didn't, because now you're paying more for us to come out there to buy new supplies, hinges, which every hinge doesn't fit.
Completely
Every
different.
liar bolts don't fit.
Completely
the trap work is a huge undertaking to get new trap work to fit properly.
If you don't have the right stuff, you might have it fabricated.
Well, we also
Right.
get customers that call and say that the hardware's not there. I mean, we get there and the hardware's not there, so now that's a wasted trip. So we got to go back. We have to charge for hardware.
Right.
I mean, it's just
You can save yourself a lot of headache by just having a professional piano mover like Hamilton Piano Company moving your piano, bar none, done and over with.
Absolutely.
We're not the only piano movers in the country.
No.
But if you do your research and look at the reviews that are online, find out from other movers. If you want to spend less money, you go ahead, no problem. It's your piano. You can do whatever you want with it. But if you don't want headaches, come to us.
or go to a professional
or
that has been in the
if you're not in our
business. I mean,
area, call a technician.
Exactly.
Call a piano technician.
Exactly.
Ask or call a university. Who takes care of your pianos? Who moves your pianos?
And your dealer, your local dealer,
Local dealers.
because they are going to be the ones that are going to direct you to who is going to take care of that instrument. We have to do it
Absolutely.
ourselves because we ship pianos all over the country.
Yep.
And we have a reliable network of movers that will use this company. We will not use this company because we know, not because we've had issues, but because we've heard of issues and we won't use them just because of that. It is now granted, every company has got issues. Ours too. I'm not saying that we're perfect because we're not.
No.
What?
But I hate to break it to you, man, but we're not perfect.
He's been thinking he's perfect for a long time.
Touche.
I concur.
But we're not. But perfect example, this doesn't happen, but if it was to happen, and I think this is the beauty of the shop too, is if we were to put a nick in a piano,
We can fix it.
You don't have to call your insurance person. You don't have to go through all the rigmarole to get it fixed. We will take care of it ourselves.
Absolutely.
Bar none, done, over with. It's going to get taken care of. We even had issues. Remember that one customer we were delivering a piano to? He said that we put the marks in his floor, which I know we did not do.
Yep.
But I had my guy come out. He took care of it. He smoothed everything out. I know we didn't do it, but we still took care of it.
Correct.
Because to me, our reputation means more than anything else. This is why we have over 500 five-star reviews. And my father always told me, word of mouth is the best reputation. And he's right. Back in the day, before Google, before reviews on Google, so on and so forth, that's how my dad did it.
Yeah.
He was so busy because of his reputation, because he was good at what he did. Like I said, just do good work and you'll always be busy. Well, it's the same thing to this day. It's just a different type of platform where we are, it's Google, it's what's the other?
Yelp.
Yelp. It's Yelp. It's Facebook. It's so on and so forth. Where you
Instagram.
look at the reviews. Look at the reviews.
Yeah.
We have as many as we have, not just from piano moving. It's from the piano sales. It's from tunings. It's from everything that we've done as a whole with the company, the rebuilds. I mean, some of our reviews, the people left such nice ones because it's like they were just in awe over what we did. We go above and beyond for our customers, and that's what sets us apart from,
Others.
Joe, Dick, and Harry. That's hey, the Three Stooges came to move your piano. We don't do that. it's M&M's. And if it ain't you guys, it's Trevor
we can
and
sometimes
Tony.
we can sometimes
TNT.
we can sometimes be as comical as the Three Stooges.
This is true.
Right, and we should videotape that because we could actually make a pilot on that. Yeah. But the thing is that with that is the team that we have built here with the company between everybody. It's not one person. This company is not built on one person.
No,
it's not.
We've got so many different age.
Right. We have 4 generations
Absolutely.
of people that work here where we have built something that, okay, I'm not good at this, but you are. You do it. You're better at this, and you can do it better than I can. Even with as much experience as I have, I'm smart enough to know that delegate it to the right person. You know what I mean? In any
Or else things can
aspect,
go wrong.
in any aspect of it. And then I know refinishers in general. Let's use that as an example. I know, not mentioning names, which piano to give to which person. Okay. But even today, we had that situation come up where we were working on one refinisher's working on a piano. Another refinisher came to me and said, "Hey, this and this. I don't recommend you doing this." And I said, "Okay." And we started talking about it. And then all 3 of us talked about it. And once he pointed something out to me, I was like, "You're absolutely right. I didn't think about it that way." The more brains you have, the better it's going to be.
Absolutely.
To get better, you have to have a certain level of humility and humbleness.
Yeah.
You can't think that you know it all.
To be able to keep getting better and better.
And if you just say, "Oh, it's just no, this is the way I'm going to do it," and that's it, and you don't take
This is my way, and that's it.
right. Once you do that, you're over.
Done. Yeah.
All right, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and we're going to keep going. We hope you listen to us,
Tune in,
and we're going to keep doing this. It will get bigger, better. I guarantee that.
and it will be a win-win-win.
Please send this to anybody that you think that would be interested in listening to this, because we really want to grow this, and we think it's a good education for everybody.
And please give us your feedback.
Yep. And if you have any questions, give us a call, 561-965-8090.
Love
Love you guys.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.